Hello there and welcome to the beef protocol upgrades. So in the previous film, I think it was 1310, I showed you the beef and the ghee protocol. Now, after 2.5 weeks or thereabouts of eating this beef in India, in Bangalore, the protocol co-created by Ahmed and his master Gopi, we then added some ingredients to the beef. And the very first ingredients we added were the garlic and the ginger. And this, after 2 weeks of eating the beef the way you've seen, was an utter revelation. So this time I'm deliberately starting off with the beef from frozen, so it'll give you an idea how it goes, how different the timings are. So what I've got is the garlic and the ginger, but as you can see I've already started to prepare it. Since I came back to England, I've added the turmeric and the black pepper, and that just takes it to another level. Of course, turmeric is incredibly anti-inflammatory. However, my empirical experience with the beef is far more anti-inflammatory than any plant substance I've ever put into my body, which is a very big surprise to me, and I'm just having to get over it. This is how it is. Beef is just an extraordinary anti-inflammatory. So, time to start, so let's flame on. In with the ghee. I'm doing a big portion, so I've got the equivalent of 2 big teaspoons of ghee in there. I need to turn the heat down. Let's see how we got on with that. So, preparing the garlic. I've got these super large cloves, which I vastly prefer to the tiny little ones. They tend to trigger my impatience to genetics. So that's lovely. There's a nice bit of garlic there. I'm not terribly fussed about how fine I cut it. And then I've just trimmed the outside off the ginger and the turmeric. And it's all a personal thing, and I'm feeling like that's just a bit mean and mingy, so let's just get a bit more in there. Ginger is a tridocic plant medicine in its own right, which means it's suitable for all the Ayurvedic types. People are classified into Pitta, Vata and Kapha. Doesn't matter what combination of those you are, ginger is very, very good for you. Balancing. So you've got the balancing ginger, the anti-inflammatory turmeric. We potentize the anti-inflammatory turmeric by 2,000 times by adding a small amount of the black pepper. So what have I forgotten? I have clearly forgotten the salt from Brittany. Yeah, the salt from Brittany is what I forgot to add to the everythings. Right, we're ready to go. So give it a swirl round. So I'm going to get them in here by whatever means it takes, and there we are, that's it, we're off. We've got 3 in there. So the very first thing is to get that Celtic sea salt from Brittany. We don't really want a huge amount of salt, but we don't want to be too mean either, because it's got 80 powerful minerals in it. It's super good stuff. So I didn't manage to show you this previously, so let's use the glove. Bring it over. Can you see that? That's looking pretty good, isn't it? It most certainly is. So let's just put that back on, let it carry on cooking. The other thing, as I mentioned before, I like to have a lid on. So let's get the lid. Personal preference. Stops beef fat from splashing over the kitchen. So these are ready. The salt has gone on, so I'm giving it a minute, and then I'll be turning them over and adding the new plants. So because I'm me and I'm pretty obsessed with particular plant spread called the pomegranates, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the pomegranate as well. So I don't mix it in with everything else, but I have it as a accompaniment, as a condiment, if you like. So while I'm waiting for the beef to have its first minute on that side, I'll just spend a little bit of time pre-preparing my pomegranate. As before, always remember, wash your hands before you start. Keep everything clean. Right, well, I think that's enough time, so let's take the lid off. See if they want to be shifted. Oh yeah, look at that, easily shifted. Turn them over. So we can now see the glove. There we are, browned over nicely. So I'm just going to use my broad handled knife. It's a Japanese knife, by the way. One of the best things you could ever get for working in your kitchen, in my personal opinion. So get the garlic, sprinkle the garlic on the top of each of the patties to start with. And when all the garlic's on, I do the same thing with the ginger and the turmeric on the top of each patty, as well as I can manage. And 2000 times potentization with the black pepper. Lid on again. That can just continue to do its thing. So it's going to be particularly exciting for me to have the beef this way this time. So with the beef that I had in the previous episode, I just want you to know that I did go into Glastonbury and spend a good hour very vigorously cleaning the dance space, which is something I do on a Saturday around midday time. I then danced like a demon for at least 2 hours. Had a wonderful release because my feet are now fully functional. I've done so much nurturing and self-care to my feet that they are now in a position to be able to pound dance floor and go wild, which makes me feel like $1 million, as I'm sure you'd realise. So there we are. So sometimes it's worth just checking these pomegranates. You might find the odd one which just look like they're starting to go off a bit, so remove them, picking out the pithy stuff. And there we go. Right, so that lot is going to go into the little bowl. And slightly spray over the surface of the cutting board. Just rejects another one there. So that's my extra condiment. Sure, that's enough time. So now I'll turn over again. And now, of course, the ginger and the garlic and the turmeric just fall onto the other side and end up being fried in the pan. That's fine. So at this point, what do I want to do? I just want to put the lid on, don't I? And give them a bit more time. Right. And I'm being a bit more civilized this time. I'm providing myself with a bowl for when it's all ready. Giving them again up to a minute on that side. It does help if you're able to control the heat to the point where it's not too fierce. If you can have just like a kind of a low to medium, it really does help the cooking process so much. And I notice that my ghee jar is almost empty, so the next one I'll be making is how to make your own ghee. So you can buy ghee in lots of places. Asian shops are particularly good, and I would not suggest you buy any of it because the quality is far too poor. I suggest you either make your own or find really high quality ghee, which is available online. But my feeling about that is, well, if you are putting your own love into your preparation of your food, so much better than just buying something that someone else maybe who's had to work at minimum wage to produce. So wherever possible, it's great to DIY, make your own. So now I've got my standard tools for this part of the operation. Right, the glove again. Let's have a look. How are they doing? They're doing like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hack up the patties as before. And because I'm a chopstick user, I use chopsticks and knife. You probably use fork and knife, doesn't matter at all. So I'm just hacking it up. And I can see the pink in the center being liberated to get a thorough cooking. And all of the essences of the garlic and the ginger and the turmeric and the black pepper and the Celtic salt are going to blend beautifully into the beef. So this is 3 times 60 gram patties, that's 180 grams. So far this has been my maximum dose. I find after I've had a dose of this magnitude, I don't have any more feelings of wanting any more. But that's just me. Ultra slim, small person. So it depends on your metabolism, your body mass as to how much you're going to need. Everyone's an individual, so you discover for yourself by listening to your body how much is right for you. So having this good old mix, lid on again, and all I'm doing now is I'm just waiting for the last of the pink to turn the same colour as the rest in the pan until it's all browned. So that's what I'm waiting for now. So, as I say, since I got back to Britain, my addition to this, which is a complete flavour bonanza, is to add the experience of some pomegranate seeds. The other thing that I did is I got the kimchi out of the fridge and I put a dollop of kimchi in as well. So I'm not strictly carnivore on this one. This one really is starting to broaden and open up. And my feeling about this is it's really an individual thing. Whatever you feel is right for you is what you want to be doing. You might want to stay strictly on the old school, beef ghee, Celtic salt, nothing else. So Celtic salt, that's have the top of the pops in the salt world. So coming in at number 4 is the shit that is normally sold. Normal salts, don't touch with a barge pole. Above that at number 3 is sea salt. If you've hit sea salt, you've reached the point that you're not putting any toxins into your body with your salt, because your conventional salt has got something in it, it's a chemical, and it's designed to help the salt flow out of the container. Big surprise, terribly toxic, don't touch with a barge pole. So in number 3 position, we have got sea salt. Number 2 position, we've got Himalayan salt, the pink salt you're so familiar with. But number one, Celtic sea salt. That's the most ideal. So let's have a look. Glove again. Ooh, now just look at that. That's a gratifying sight for having done a huge amount of physical activity. I look at that and I say to myself, the colour's right, it's ready. It's eat the beef time, which is very, very exciting. So I can turn off the heat. I can just take a moment and say, yes, thank you, the spirits of all the cows that provide the beef that is literally curing my ailments, some of which had become so ingrained in my awareness that I not even consider them to be ailments anymore. So this is an incredible achievement, and I'm nutritioning myself up to the max, because when I eat like this, I know when I've done this for a certain number of days, I will have no nutritional deficiencies in anything at all. There's a huge subject that a more astute of you will have noticed, which is, yeah, Keith, but what about the vitamin C? What about the vitamin C? I'm going to answer that one in the comments, because it's time. It's time for another dose, and it's another dose of the beef and the ghee and the medicinal magic plants that have been added. So it all goes in the bowl rather than eating out the pan, which is not recommended. I will sprinkle on top of that, after I've taken off the glove, the pomegranate seeds. Now, doesn't that just look pretty? Now, my kimchi, the kimchi of the day is not my usual, which looks like orange. There's a very small amount of beetroot in this kimchi, so it actually looks the colour you can see. So a bit of a pink attacks there in my beef protocol. So this is it. Glasses off, bowl in hand. There it is, that's what I'm going to do. So let's just, what is it like? The flavour explosion is simply off the charts. That is so good. So that's what it looks like, and I only wish you could taste it with me. So the thing about this protocol, minced beef is not expensive in the absurdly expensive British Isles. Where I'm living, it comes out at about £12 a kilo. Still pretty good, isn't it? So the thing about this, rather than buying all those expensive supplements, which you never notice a difference when you've eaten them, how about this? And see how you feel. Well, all love to you, and it's pretty clear what I'm focusing on now.